In a bold and unfiltered statement that is already stirring controversy, political commentator and Reform UK candidate Alex Phillips has called for the closure of all religious schools in the United Kingdom that are not Christian. Her position is clear and unapologetic. It is time to restore British values, national cultural identity, and the country's Christian heritage to the heart of the education system. And the truth is, beyond the rhetoric, she is voicing what many citizens feel but are hesitant to express openly. For years, the UK has deliberately sidestepped difficult conversations around national identity, social integration, and cultural cohesion. But times are changing. A growing number of people are beginning to question why educational institutions exist in Britain that promote religious or cultural views fundamentally at odds with the nation's core values. Phillips' message is not a populist ploy. Rather, many view it as a long-overdue critique that has been avoided for far too long. Predictably, the usual voices of outrage have already emerged: progressive political figures, left-leaning media outlets, and self-appointed community leaders, all quick to accuse her of discrimination, intolerance, or even xenophobia. Yet at the heart of her proposal is not exclusion, but preservation. It is about ensuring that future generations grow up with a shared sense of identity and belonging. The real question is whether you support this vision. We encourage you to reflect on it and share your thoughts in the comments. But before we dive deeper, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for further updates. Let's take a closer look. This type of initiative isn't unique to the UK. Similar proposals are gaining traction across Europe, Sweden being one such example. As the continent grapples with the long-term effects of mass immigration and insufficient integration, concerns are mounting over rising social tensions and fractured communities. In some circles, terms like civil war are even starting to appear, a troubling indicator of how serious the situation has become. From this perspective, defending a nation's cultural and moral foundations is not something to be ashamed of, it is a necessity. That's why many support measures such as banning full face coverings, a policy already enacted in countries like Denmark, as these garments are seen as obstacles to social integration. Eye contact and language proficiency are essential for meaningful interaction. There's also growing discussion around reducing the heavy reliance on public translation services, with the aim of encouraging English language learning as a unifying force. Another controversial proposal involves the phasing out of religious schools not affiliated with the Church of England or the Catholic tradition, institutions generally seen as more inclusive towards pupils of other faiths. The argument is straightforward. Educating children exclusively within closed cultural environments is not conducive to their development as integrated members of society. In line with this view, there is also support for banning practices such as animal slaughter without prior stunning, a policy rooted in ensuring ethical standards for animal welfare, regardless of religious justification. For those who object to such proposals on the grounds of religious freedom, the counterpoint is equally clear. This is our country, and here we uphold values such as animal welfare, respect for women, and the full inclusion of all children in shared environments. The vision is simple: a society where young children grow and play together without divisions imposed from an early age. This discussion is further complicated by a recent documentary by Simon Reeves, which addresses the issue of forced evictions, adding another layer to the broader debate. Taken together with current political rhetoric, these themes highlight a growing strain across Europe. Denmark, for instance, demonstrates how a country can accept high tax rates, between 44% and 46%, in exchange for robust public services and more effective integration strategies. By contrast, the UK, with a lower tax burden, faces steeper challenges in these areas. What concerns many about Phillips' remarks is the seemingly divisive tone. Rather than fostering reconciliation, critics argue that such language risks fueling further conflict. The crucial question is, how do we bring communities together? Is confrontation the solution, or should we be building bridges? Even if phrases like civil war are cited as warnings rather than threats, their impact in a politically charged environment can be dangerous. The language used in these discussions is far from neutral. Ignoring deep societal divisions or pretending problems don't exist does little to address them. The debate over religious education, in fact, ties into broader issues affecting the social fabric. It will be important to monitor how Reform UK positions itself on related matters, such as the role of Welsh language schools in Wales, for instance. Ultimately, What's at stake is more than just an educational model, it's a vision for the country itself. Should the preservation of cultural identity take precedence over multiculturalism? Can true integration be achieved without compromising traditional values? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In other major developments, Reform UK would emerge as the country's leading political force if a general election were held today. That's according to a new and striking opinion poll. The latest MRP study conducted by YouGov suggests that a turquoise wave would sweep across large parts of England and Wales, resulting in Reform winning 271 seats in the House of Commons. Meanwhile, the Labour Party, led by Keir Starmer, would face a historic setback, registering its worst electoral performance since 1935 with just 178 seats, even lower than the result achieved under Jeremy Corbyn in 2019. At the same time, the Conservative Party, now headed by Kemi Badenoch, would experience a near total collapse, falling from 121 seats to just 46. The Liberal Democrats, in contrast, would continue to gain ground in what was once known as the Blue Wall, allowing Sir Ed Davey to overtake the Conservatives and position his party as the third largest in Parliament, with 81 MPs. Despite Labour's recent success in the Hamilton by-election, a potential resurgence of the Scottish National Party could raise concerns in Downing Street. According to the same poll, the SNP would increase its seat count from 9 to 34, placing John Swinney on track to replicate Nicola Sturgeon's modest 2017 campaign outcome. The Liberal Democrats are also projected to make further gains, adding 9 more seats to reach a total of 81. Both the Green Party and Plaid Cymru would see a boost in their parliamentary representation, gaining 3 seats each and reaching a historic high of 7 MPs per party. In fact, the SNP would reclaim most of the constituencies it lost to Labour in the last election, consolidating a total of 38 seats. At the same time, the Greens and Plaid Cymru would maintain their projected gains, each holding steady at 7 seats. In its report, YouGov highlights that a significant portion of the electorate now favours parties outside the traditional two-party system that has dominated British politics for decades. This trend underscores just how fragmented the UK's political landscape has become over the past 10 years. According to the data, 26% of voters would now support Reform UK, followed by 23% for Labour, 18% for the Conservatives, 15% for the Liberal Democrats, 11% for the Greens, 3% for the SNP, 1% for Plaid Cymru, and 2% for other smaller parties or independents. Patrick English, Director of Political Analytics at YouGov, emphasized that just 1 year after what seemed to be a defining Labour victory, the party now risks winning even fewer seats than it did in 2019. The fact that a growing majority is turning away from the traditional parties points to a major reconfiguration of Britain's political map. However, the report also cautions that the most likely outcome remains a hung parliament, with no party securing an outright majority. In fact, 97% of the simulations conducted show no single party gaining full control. In 9% of those scenarios, a coalition between Reform UK and the Conservatives could form a unified right-wing government. In contrast, a potential alliance between Labour, the Liberal Democrats, and the SNP would only achieve a majority in 3% of cases. Including the Greens would raise that figure to 11%, and with Plaid Cymru added, the likelihood increases to 26%. Reform UK's rise is particularly pronounced in pro-Brexit regions. Of the 266 gains projected for the party, only 10 would come from areas that voted to remain in the European Union. This upward trend also extends to constituencies such as Dumfries and Galloway in Scotland. According to the survey, Reform is on course to dominate key regions including the East Midlands, East of England, North East, South East, Wales, West Midlands, and Yorkshire and the Humber, solidifying its influence across the electoral map. Additionally, Reform UK is reportedly neck and neck with Labour in the northwest, highlighting its expansion beyond its traditional strongholds. These projections indicate a dramatic shift in voter sentiment across the UK, reflecting growing dissatisfaction with the established political order and increasing support for new political alternatives that promise to break with the past. What are your thoughts on these numbers and what they could mean for the future of the United Kingdom? Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates on British politics. See you in the next video.